Have you ever felt completely drained after spending time with certain people, even when nothing particularly stressful happened? That unexplainable fatigue isn't in your head. It might be evidence that someone is literally stealing your life force. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to show you how to identify these energy parasites walking among us. According to research by Helena Blavatsky and others who've studied consciousness hierarchies, up to 95% of human decisions are automatic. But what if some people are operating on autopilot in a much more profound way? Stay with me to discover if you've been unknowingly feeding these spiritual vampires. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to function differently than others? Not just in personality, but in their very essence? There's something mechanical about their interactions, as if they're running on autopilot while the rest of us navigate life with full awareness. This isn't just your imagination, it's a phenomenon that spiritual teachers throughout history have observed and documented. When you identify these energy-depleting individuals, you're actually recognizing different levels in what mystics call the hierarchy of consciousness. Think of humanity as a multi-story building. Some people operate from the ground floor, completely bound to material concerns, while others access higher levels of awareness and spiritual autonomy. This understanding helps you manage your own energy more effectively by recognizing where others might be functioning from. Throughout the ages, mystics from diverse traditions have documented this consciousness spectrum. From ancient Egyptian mystery schools to Tibetan Buddhist teachings, the understanding has persisted that consciousness exists on a spectrum, and not all bodies house the same quality of spiritual presence. The Hermetic principle as above, so below captures this ancient recognition of varying levels of soul development among seemingly identical human forms. Helena Blavatsky, the founder of Theosophy, conducted extensive research into this area in the late 1800s. Her controversial findings suggested something potentially uncomfortable. Some people function primarily as human shells or vessels without fully developed souls. According to Blavatsky, these beings look and act human but lack the internal spiritual spark that drives authentic consciousness and original thought. The Gnostic traditions divided humans into three distinct categories. The Hylics operated completely bound to material existence and physical desires. The Psychics possessed an intermediate level of soul development and some spiritual awareness. The Pneumatics were spiritually awakened beings with full access to their divine nature. These classifications explain the varying levels of spiritual awakening evident in human behavior. These vessel humans aren't evil or malicious. They operate primarily through programming and conditioning instead of authentic consciousness. Their thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses tend to be predictable patterns absorbed from their environment, education, and society. Modern neuroscience validates these ancient perspectives. Research shows that up to 95% of human decisions are automatic, driven by neural conditioning established before age 7. Most people function largely on autopilot, with their subconscious mind running the show while their conscious awareness merely observes the results. These energy-depleting individuals rarely realize their nature. They're trapped in a system designed to create automatons, beings who consume, produce, and follow rules without questioning reality. You can identify these energy parasites by watching for unusually rigid body movements and facial expressions that seem rehearsed, a consistent lack of original thought, excessive focus on rules and conformity, inability to self-reflect, emotional reactions that seem disproportionate or mimicked, consistently steering conversations to surface-level topics, an absence of genuine curiosity about life's bigger questions. These 7 warning signs help protect yourself. When interacting with someone displaying these characteristics, a brief conversation can leave you feeling inexplicably drained, as if your life force has been siphoned away. Your thoughts become fuzzy, your mood shifts downward, and you might experience a strange sensation of emptiness. That's because these interactions are energetic transactions. When you engage with someone functioning as an energy parasite, the flow moves primarily from you to them, a subtle depleting of your vital force. These energetic transactions don't just leave you feeling temporarily drained, they create measurable changes in your physiology that most people incorrectly attribute to ordinary illness or stress. Your body keeps the score of every energy-depleting interaction, transforming what seems like a simple conversation into something that affects you on a cellular level. What if that persistent fatigue you've blamed on your busy schedule is actually your body's response to spiritual energy depletion? When you interact with energy parasites repeatedly, your body undergoes significant physiological changes. Research shows these interactions alter your heart rate variability, a key indicator of your nervous system's health and resilience. Your immune system weakens, stress hormones flood your system, and your body enters a state of chronic depletion that conventional medicine often struggles to identify. Think about the last time you visited your doctor complaining of constant tiredness. They likely ran standard tests for common conditions, thyroid problems, anemia, vitamin deficiencies. When those tests came back normal, you might have been told it's just stress or perhaps even that it's all in your head. Medical science often fails to recognize that energy depletion creates a distinct pattern of fatigue that doesn't respond to traditional treatments. To protect yourself, start with a simple grounding exercise. Before engaging with potential energy parasites, visualize roots extending from your feet deep into the earth. Dr. Elena Markoff's research shows this 30-second practice reduces susceptibility to energy depletion by 40%. Follow this with a protective shield visualization. Imagine a luminous bubble surrounding your body that allows positive energy in but deflects negative energy away. Set verbal boundaries with a technique called energy reclamation. When feeling drained during an interaction, excuse yourself briefly and affirm, "I call my energy back to me now. I am whole and complete." 78% of participants in a University of Arizona energy psychology study reported immediate improvement with this method. For long-term protection, practice daily energy hygiene. "I was constantly exhausted after work until I started cleansing my energy field each evening," reports Jamie, a counselor who works with difficult clients. "Now I use salt baths with intention setting twice weekly, and my energy remains stable even after challenging days." The emotional toll of energy vampirism is significant but far more insidious. That anxiety, mental fog, and feeling of not being yourself after certain interactions are direct consequences of energetic depletion. As your energy reserves are drained, your intuition becomes dulled, creative inspiration diminishes, and connecting to higher states of consciousness becomes increasingly difficult. This energetic vampirism occurs in everyday environments, toxic workplaces, family gatherings, and even intimate relationships. We've been conditioned to accept feeling drained as part of modern life, when it's actually a sign of energetic imbalance. Healthy interactions should leave both parties feeling energized, or at least not depleted. Determine if someone is an energy parasite through intentional observation. Before your next interaction with a suspected energy drainer, note your energy level, emotional state, and mental clarity. Check again immediately after. Has there been a shift? Track these energy levels over time to establish patterns. Pay attention to physical sensations, tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, or a sudden headache around certain people. These reactions are your energy system's alarm bells, warning you of potential depletion. Your intuitive reactions aren't random, they're your energy system's sophisticated defense mechanism against a reality few discuss openly. The uncomfortable truth is that consciousness isn't distributed equally among humans. It exists along a hierarchical spectrum that determines who naturally generates spiritual energy and who must harvest it from others to function. This perspective challenges our modern assumption that all humans possess identical spiritual capacities. Instead, consciousness operates like a developmental spectrum, with individuals at various stages of spiritual evolution. Some souls are younger in their journey, while others carry the wisdom of countless experiences. This helps explain why certain interactions consistently leave you depleted. David Icke, drawing from Gnostic traditions, suggests that people at earlier stages of spiritual development are more vulnerable to external manipulation. These individuals lack the inner strength and awareness needed to resist external influences, making them more easily controlled by forces that seek to exploit their energy. This vulnerability is a consequence of their current stage of spiritual evolution. Spiritual development resembles human development. We don't expect a 5-year-old to have the emotional regulation of a 40-year-old. Similarly, younger souls haven't yet developed the capacity for sustained self-awareness that more experienced souls naturally possess. This explains why some people operate almost entirely on autopilot, with little evidence of self-reflection or original thought. A system designed to suppress consciousness rather than nurture its development maintains this imbalance. This matrix system functions through various channels, including education structures that reward memorization over creative thinking, media that promotes superficial values, and social conditioning that praises conformity over authentic expression. The system's goal is to maintain a population in limited awareness, easier to predict, control, and harvest energetically. The matrix rewards those who follow without question while subtly punishing those who challenge its foundations. From early childhood, most humans are conditioned to operate within narrow parameters of acceptable thought and behavior. For souls already limited in their spiritual development, this programming becomes their primary operating system, leaving little room for authentic consciousness to emerge. Energy parasites are caught in the same system, often more deeply than those they affect. They don't consciously choose to drain others, they simply have no alternative method of sustaining themselves energetically. Without developed internal spiritual resources, they unconsciously form energetic attachments to those who generate abundant life force. Their actions stem from programming and spiritual depletion rather than malicious intent. These energetic connections are actual cords of energy that form between individuals, facilitating the transfer of vital force. In relationships with energy-depleted individuals, these cords become channels through which your life force is continuously drawn away, often without your conscious awareness. Those with limited spiritual development often seek positions of control and external validation precisely because they lack internal spiritual resources. Meanwhile, truly conscious beings are naturally creative and don't seek power, they focus on creation and connection rather than control. You can protect yourself by understanding and managing these energetic dynamics. Practical approaches include grounding practices that connect you to the Earth's natural energy field, energy cord-cutting visualizations to sever unhealthy attachments, and intentional energy regeneration practices to rebuild your vital force. For example, cord-cutting visualization involves picturing the energetic connections between yourself and energy-depleting individuals, then mentally severing these cords while affirming your energetic sovereignty. Similarly, grounding techniques connect your energy field to the Earth's abundant resources, reducing your vulnerability to depletion by others. While connecting to Earth's energy creates a foundation, it's only the first step in reclaiming what's rightfully yours. The forgotten wisdom of Gurdjieff holds the key that transforms victims into masters of their own energy field. This approach to energy sovereignty remains undiscovered by most people because they've never been taught to recognize the invisible dynamics constantly at play around them. Protecting your energy forms the cornerstone of authentic spiritual development. When your vital force remains intact rather than being siphoned away in daily interactions, you possess the raw material needed for genuine transformation. Think of it as building a house. You can have perfect blueprints and skilled builders, but without materials, construction remains impossible. Your preserved energy serves as the essential building blocks for spiritual evolution. The challenge most face is that they've been systematically denied knowledge of these energetic dynamics. Our educational systems focus exclusively on material reality while ignoring the subtle exchanges happening in every human interaction. This blind spot creates a vulnerability that can be exploited, often unconsciously, by those lacking their own spiritual resources. Gurdjieff's revolutionary technique of self-remembering addresses this vulnerability at its core. Unlike passive observation, self-remembering involves becoming a witness to your own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors while you're engaged in them. This dual consciousness, being both participant and observer, creates a powerful shift in your energy dynamics. As Gurdjieff taught, when you observe yourself in action, you interrupt the mechanical patterns that typically drain your energy. You become a conscious agent making deliberate choices about your energetic exchanges. This practice breaks the unconscious habits that serve as energy leaks in your system. Most people live what Gurdjieff called a state of mechanical sleep, reacting automatically to external stimuli without conscious awareness. By implementing consistent self-observation, you function as a conscious being rather than an automaton, preserving vital energy that would otherwise dissipate through unconscious reactions. Daily energy protection requires establishing clear energetic boundaries. Visualization practices create powerful energetic shields that deflect unwanted influences. Before entering potentially draining environments, visualize a protective field of light surrounding your body. Set a clear intention about how this field will interact with others, allowing positive exchanges while blocking energy-depleting intrusions. This deliberate programming of your subtle energy system enhances your protection. Learning to recognize manipulation tactics preserves your natural defenses. Energy parasites employ emotional triggers like guilt, obligation, or fear. These tactics create energetic vulnerabilities by activating emotional responses that override rational boundaries. Recognizing these patterns gives you power to maintain your energetic sovereignty. Disengaging from energy-depleting relationships requires strategic finesse. Gradually reduce contact by becoming unavailable through legitimate commitments to yourself. When interaction is unavoidable, prepare energetically beforehand and limit the duration. Move interactions to public spaces where energy dynamics naturally diffuse across a wider field rather than concentrating between individuals. These practices accelerate spiritual development by preventing energy leakage. When you're no longer losing life force through unconscious patterns, that energy becomes available for higher purposes. The spiritual journey depends on having sufficient energy. With your energy field intact, intuitive abilities sharpen as your system operates optimally without interference. Energy previously lost now powers your manifestation capacity, allowing intentions to materialize with greater speed and precision. People who implement these practices report increased energy, enhanced clarity of thought, deeper creative insights, and more fulfilling relationships. Their decisions align with their authentic purpose rather than being influenced by external expectations or manipulations. Remember this fundamental truth: your spiritual energy is the essence of who you are. The power to protect it begins with simply recognizing its value. Awareness serves as your first line of defense. By understanding the dynamics at play in your daily interactions, you've already taken the crucial step toward reclaiming your vital force. This knowledge empowers you to question social conditioning and break free from limiting patterns that once controlled you. This is about making conscious choices about where your energy flows, allowing you to engage with the world from a position of strength rather than depletion.